Hello headset fans, I'm the PC Expert Amateur, and we're going to take a look at the Miniso Dongguan Sinbon Electronic Technology Company Limited X10 wireless in-ear earbuds. And they went a little bit crazy on the packaging. This is paper that they put to cover the plastic. I guess they didn't like the way the plastic looks or something. And they also put this in a bag. And they've got a QC pass from inspector number 19. Now, there's a funny thing about that inspector 19 thing. And I'll go backwards. So the last thing that I noticed about that inspector number 19 QC pass card is that number 19 is also demonstrated somewhere in this darn manual that you'll find that little card inside. And now I'm going to go to the first thing I noticed. I was looking at it and I thought, well, that's great. Somebody checked it. Then I was like, well, okay. It is a little bit amusing how they wrote qualified certificate. Oh dear. Oh my, that sounds scary. Anyways, I looked at it and I was like, there's something odd about it. The stamp was just a little bit too neat, I guess. I mean, I didn't consciously say that to myself, but I'm saying it now because I had this reaction as there's something not right. And indeed, looking at it now, I can see that it's just way too neat to have been stamped on there. So I got out my magnifying glass and I looked with it and I couldn't tell for sure. It seemed like the ink that had been used for the red was the same kind of ink as the black and the blue, because the sheen is exactly the same. But I wasn't sure. So I got out my microscope, which has up to 1200 magnification. And then I could see for sure that this was all pre-printed at one time. In fact, the red is a little bit separated when you look through a microscope. So there's an edge where it's yellow. So there's some overlap, is what I'm saying. So this is fake. For whatever reason, it's fake. And, you know, again, the fact that you see that somewhere in this package, somewhere else in this package, that there's this little picture of that same card. A little drawing, I guess I should say. It just bothers me, you know. Anyways, it does come with a charging cable, of course, and you know, I have so many charging cables. Also, and I want to show you, one of the things I like the most about this is this case, because it's so easy to open. It takes so little effort to open and close. Unlike the cases where you have to flip it open, those are, to varying degrees, are kind of a pain in the butt. There's for the charging cable in the back. We also have silicone rubber pieces for the two parts of this set that use silicone. So what we can see here, and I'll make it easier for you to see, and what I didn't realize at first, is of course you have the nub that's made with silicone, but you also have this. And when I looked at this first, I thought, oh, Okay, but having seen this bag of these things, this is actually a rubber piece. And you can change out the size. So if you would like to have a bigger handle or a smaller handle, you can do that. Take off the nub, take off this, put on the ones you want. So yeah. So instead of sitting like a lot of them, they sit like this, right? This one actually sits like this, which is kind of interesting. And it's playing. It automatically synced with my phone. And that's fine too. There is, now you're in the case, you can stop. Stop. There. In fact, the music app opened by itself. That's a little bit scary. There is actually a little ice blue light there. They call it ice blue. There are also little ice blue lights on here as well. And these things are used to indicate charge. And not only did they indicate on these, which is right and left, and it's in between the two, what do you call them? Charging dots, I guess, is what I'll call them. It has R or L. But it's also, to help you to put them into the case correctly, I guess, also on here, R and L. So yeah, they're fairly comfortable. I didn't really notice that it was a big deal to wear them. The surface texture of the case is, I don't know, it's oddly pleasing. I can't really say why. It's just kind of a, it's smooth like a baby's bottom. I don't know. It's just satisfyingly smooth. Not that that really makes a difference. I'm not a particularly tactile person, but I noticed that when I touched this, I was like, oh, I like the way that feels. Yeah, so I like that. So the design is a bit different. There's the loop for the handle instead of a stick or something. There's a you get the different sizes of the loops for the silicone cover plus the nubs. They fit comfortably. The sound is very nice, and it's got a really good range of at least 40 feet, and even through my kitchen and into my bathroom without breaking up, but not clearly to my bedroom, which would have been phase 3 or stage 3. That is actually pretty good that it got through 2 of the 4 barrier tests that I do, but not remarkable. I ran a series of tests, and I wanted to share that information with you. I'll also tell you what it does and doesn't offer. For example, it does not offer, where was I? I lost track. Okay, so it is, it has no IP rating. There's no noise canceling that I'm aware of. There's no bone conduction, which, you know, these are nice things to have, especially, bone conduction, because bone conduction, can defeat outside noise somewhat. And it doesn't have a microphone. Now, a lot of the headsets I've got do have microphones, but this is one of 4 that does not. And, well, actually 3 of 3 that does not have a microphone. The other bunch of them do. Now, I ran the HiHacker Ultimate Headphone Test for fidelity testing. And for the bass range, they performed really well. They got it was basically really close to perfect. And so from 200 to 20 hertz. Then I did the treble test, which is 8,000 to 20,000 megahertz. and that did pretty good. Not the best that I observed with some of the other sets, but it went from 8,000 to 14,000 megahertz. Then it stopped. The sound did. And then, but shortly after it stopped, there was very faintly, I could hear some noises still, very faintly. And that happened with three other of the headsets that I tested. And then I did the driver bass quality, which is where you're listening for distortion, buzzing, that sort of thing, as it goes through the range that's on the lower end of the range, and it passed that one just fine. Then I did the driver balance test, which is as you're listening to the sound go from the bottom to the top and back down to the bottom, it's supposed to stay dead center in terms of where you think it sounds like it's coming from. It's supposed to stay dead center. This one was moving a lot. So unfortunately, the quality of the drivers, for whatever reason, is not good enough. Now, I don't know if this is that the drivers are somehow moving, or if they're just not good quality, or how that works exactly. All I know is that from top to bottom, or top and bottom, primarily, is where I would hear it moving to the right or to the left or back and forth between the right and the left. And that's not what you want, especially if you're going to rely on the headset for playing video games. So I definitely would say that, if you're going to be a pro gamer, these are not the best set for you to use. Now, I then did 3 tests to determine how good they were at simulating direction. And it can be anywhere from fail to unstable or inconsistent, or stereo plus, all the way up to pass. And so the first one I did was the Lion Studio test, a 3D high definition test, and it passed that one. In fact, all of them passed that one. And that was the easiest one, I guess. Then I did the Dolby Presents Universe, and the results were inconsistent. The first time I ran it, it didn't sound right. The second time I ran it, it was better, but still not great. And I think maybe I ran it a third time, and it was even better that time. So it was very inconsistent. Then finally, I did the THX spatial test, which says it's called Hear the Difference. And that one also, it did not do great in it. It did stereo plus, which is one step, I would say, below pass. Wherein sometimes I felt like I could hear things in a dimensional way, and in other times it just seemed to be stereo. So a little bit disappointing. If you're just listening to like music or something like that, that obviously is not going to make a difference. But again, if you are playing video games where you need to rely on sound cues from different positions, or you're otherwise directionally dependent on the headset, this is a bad choice for you to have. And it's not the only one. Finally, I did a test of the signal for these, from the case to however far I could get away. And as with all of the other wireless ones, I could get as far as I could go in my apartment, which is about 40 feet from here. So I just leave my case over here, and then I would start walking, and I was listening to something on the headset, and I would get all the way to my son's bed, which is about 40 feet away, and no problem. No cutouts or anything like that. So I came to the, for that, that was an easy test. It's a line of sight test, is what I call it. Then I did the other test, which is the barrier test that I mentioned earlier. And so the first barrier is the double wall over here before my kitchen. And it's a double wall because between the first 2 walls is the water heater and the HVAC. And then on the other side of that is the refrigerator, freezer combo, and the range. So when I got into the kitchen, no problem. It worked. Then the next barrier test is the wall on the other side of the kitchen. So that's a total of 3 walls plus appliances. And went into the bathroom and it worked there as well. No problem. So that's actually pretty good. I only had one other of the 6 that I tested. I only had one other that did this. Two others. No, one other. One other that did as well as that, and one other that did passed all 4 stages. So it passed stages 1 and 2. When I got into my bedroom is when it started cutting out. So it didn't pass stage 3. So overall, it's got a good range, not a great range, but better than average, I guess I should say, since it got to stage 2, completed stage 2, whereas 3 of them only completed stage 1 and only one of them completed all 4 stages. I do have some other headphones on the way, and I'll test them and review them as well. So, if you want a comfortable headset and direction is not important to you and you are not planning on walking really far away from your case, then this is fine. It's comfortable and it has good sound and everything. But, again, directional, or if you're going to put this down and forget about it and walk too far away. Or maybe, one thing I didn't think about doing, and I guess I should, is what happens, how far away from the source of the Bluetooth do I have to be before, with the case, before there's a problem? That would be an interesting test. In fact, I'm going to have to do that now that I've thought about it. And I guess I'll have to kind of do a roundup and publish the results just for that test later on. Oh, and just so you know, I did just do it with the case in my hand and the same results as before with the case sitting here. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you have a great day.
Need to ask for your help. I'm sorry. On December 11th, 2024, Amazon terminated me and used false accusations against me. And on December 17th, I had my left shoulder operated on. I'm getting a lot better. I can do some things with my hand and my arm, but it's still pretty limited. If you could please help me out by liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, and turning on notifications for my channels, that would really help. If you want to help me financially and you can afford to, you can go to my Glenn's Fast Reviews and you can do a super thanks as a donation there. If you want to donate on a monthly basis, you can become a member there. And or you can go to patreon.com/GLENNMII. So thank you for that. Also, I'd like to say thank you to bleepingcomputer.com for allowing me to post messages on their forum about my videos. Thank you so much. And don't forget to visit them. They offer a lot of wonderful resources for people who are using computers. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.